see you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Where would you like me to sit? Right here?
Yeah.
All right. No. Wherever you want me to sit, I'm at your disposal.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So,
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Pretty good. I was encouraged when she decided to do an impromptu visit. And so I decided, well, we're going to get together. Yesterday we bought the food, the finger food, and unfortunately she was not there to eat some of it. We had some pepper in it. So
I love pepper.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome to the staff, and maybe you will want to say who it was. But she's accompanied by a political analyst for the U.S. Embassy as well. And we'll talk to you for a few minutes.
Well, thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here. I apologize again for having to cancel at the last minute yesterday, especially since I heard that there was food. If I had known, I would have. So I do apologize for that, but I'm delighted to have the opportunity to come over here and learn a little bit about what the GAC is doing, what your mandate is. It's a good educational process for me to get a sense of, there's lots of talk always about the Audit Commission and what's going on and what they should be doing and why aren't they doing this, but to really understand what the real mandate is and to hear how things are going. And so I look forward to continuing this conversation as we go forward, as the time I'm here anyway, and watching how many of these changes I know that the Auditor General has put into place, how things are progressing. So I appreciate all the work that you're doing. I mean, I understand getting the numbers of like how many government ministries and agencies you're responsible for auditing. That's a task, particularly if you're supposed to do that every year. So I know there's a lot of work to be done, and that you're all working very hard. So keep up the great work, and I appreciate the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you today.
So anybody got anything? Comments you want to make?
The press will ask 3 questions, both the AG and the ambassador. After that, let's call your name for where you're from and pose a question.
I'm Anthony Stevens from Power TV. Questions for both the AG and the US ambassador. First, the AG. Can you tell us the purpose of the discussion? And then later on ask the ambassador.
Well, the ambassador, as I said, paid an impromptu visit to us, and we appreciate it because she wanted to know whether the information has an integrity to it or whatever. But the whole idea was for us to, kind of meet formally. We've met on several occasions, but informally, and I think to understand what we do at the GAC would, give her a good idea of the mandate, the task, and what everybody is doing to bring this organization back to what it should be. So it was pretty much at that level.
Okay, my question to the U.S. ambassador. What is the U.S. government going to do? Now you've had a discussion with the AG about the workings of the GEC and all of that. Specifically, what are you going to do now with the discussion you've had?
Well, again, the purpose of the visit today was really just an introductory, as the Auditor General said, a more formal opportunity to sit down and talk about the work of the Commission. Certainly, I will use this to inform my own further discussions that I have with various ministries, various parts of the government, in terms of what sorts of activities the government is undertaking to ensure that there's greater accountability and greater transparency on management of government revenues and government projects and activities. This is a positive development. Certainly, we think this is a great way to build the institutions of the government, to deliver the services to people, which is really at the end of the day what it's about. If the people of Liberia are expecting a certain service from a government agency, they should be able to know that that's eventually that's what they're going to get. And you need a watchdog like an auditor, an auditing organization to ensure that things are being properly handled.
2 more questions.
Ambassador?
Yeah, that's just me. Yeah, busy.
For the state-run Liberal Broadcasting System. A day or two ago, you were at the Liberal Anti-Corruption Commission, and today we see you here again. I don't know the purpose of this visit. Who knows where do you go from here?
Well, I've only been in Liberia for a few months, and so I'm still I'm still moving through that introductory phase of making a sort of formal courtesy calls on the various government ministries, agencies, operations, and organizations. And this is just one of many that we're still on my list. I've been trying to check my boxes and go through to have formal meetings with people, most of whom I've met informally at events around town, but haven't had the chance to come and talk to them in terms of really what they do and what the organizations in which they work are doing. So I wouldn't read anything into this other than that this is just an opportunity to get to know each other a little bit better and to learn about the work that's ongoing.
And also, we discussed, in fact, I brought up the fact that we're trying to make the public aware of what we do here through our radio show program weekly on the Radio Monrovia. So I gave a package and
I'll be listening.
so we plan to bring in civil society from time to time and community groups and the partners that provide us a lot of funding. We established the donor funds department because we know that it is other countries' taxpayers' money that we need to look at as well. So we want to be able to use that, utilize that mechanism, the technology that we are implementing and the expertise we put together, the donor funds audit department to report to the different donors. The challenge there, I said, was that we have different standards we have to meet for each donor. For example, in the U.S., we have to meet the generally accepted government auditing standards, and then some of the other donors will require ISA, International Standards on Auditing. So we will have to have the diversity in that department to carry on them, and systems that involve IT, we'll have our IT auditors and so on.
I'd just like to add too, and the other thing that we did talk about is we helped arrange some meetings with the government auditing organization back in the United States, and the GAO on a visit that the AG made a few months ago, and I was interested to hear sort of how useful he found that visit and a little bit about the information that he was able to get while he was there. So that was good to hear that it was a useful visit.
It was very useful. In fact, we got their methodology. Luckily for us, they had it on CD. It's like a website on the CD, and it showed all the methodologies and the way they approach it, and the risk-based auditing we discussed, which is auditing on a risk-by-risk basis. So we got a lot of good information from the GAO, and we plan to interact with them as mentors from time to time, and utilize all the resources, auditing resources, to get us through the INOSA audit peer review audit that will be coming up.
We'll take the last question from Sky FM.
Ambassador what did you say to the AG relative to the fight against corruption? You have closed the meeting to the AG. People referring to you now as a two-flat bulldog. How many government institutions have you been able
In fact, I'll go first. I heard, in fact, to show you how I stay away from the media these days. I think I had sufficient of them. But anyway, the ambassador was able to tell me that GSC is in the news again. And I got a newspaper, but I don't read them. So we discussed, we discussed things relating to a two-flat bulldog. We are not. Yeah, I mean, it's an oxymoron. Because on one radio station they're saying they're counting down on audits because they don't understand what audit means. And then on the other one, I'm a two-flat bulldog. We got 35 ongoing audits. We're in the planning and execution phases of the various audits. So to say I'm a two-flat bulldog is another characterization that I can't relate to.
Well, again, our conversation was really to learn about what the GAC's role in the in governance generally really is about. We did talk a little bit about the relationship between the GAC and Malac, as well as with the Internal Audit Secretariat, with the legislature. Again, this goes back to sort of common practice for governments around the world in terms of ensuring accountability, transparency, and good management of government resources or public resources. And so in that regard, obviously that all contributes to a push against corruption, because if there's a light shined, but, you know, on practices and systems and policies that are in place, that will, in many cases, will show up where there are problems that need to be addressed.
Thank you very much.
So we'll take a little tour of the
Sure. Sorry to interrupt you.
So we're just going to the second
We're
floor.
taking a little tour.
Second floor down. That's right.
It's not you.
I think we left them all behind.
And in there was where the presidents.
So that's his office.
This was the president's
This was a very spacious, had very spacious residence. So when did they stop using this as the residence? Not until, I guess, when the new one was built?
Yeah, in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 60.
Oh, is that far? Okay, that long.
Okay.
What happened is,
Space though.
you say wants to do this, so we're still.
Okay.
A lot of auditors be able to move up here.
Yeah, I know, and it's
And
great.
it- and
It's lots of, it's a nice space.
Yeah, it's all cramped in.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you could use it, yeah. But that sounds like that's still a while.
Yeah, well, the next,
months.
yeah, exactly. A month or so in May, the UC was usually start there.
The General Auditing Commission, the GAC, right out here.
Yeah, there's no this.
Sorry, why? Get back to work, I don't want to disrupt. Yeah, because that's unusual, they would have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They decided to do one and they didn't do the other. So that's how we got it. Yeah, the fiber line is running through here, so we want to leverage. Yeah, in fact,
Hello, how are you?
Henry Gould.
Nice to meet you.
The U.S. ambassador. Yeah, he's
This is
a
great.
IT guy in charge of this operation, trying to make sure. So we gotta cram him up in one of these.
I was going to say, stacked to the ceiling.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good, yeah.
This is what we're planning.
Great. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Well, let's see one or two other officers down here. Test the credibility of
Right,
it.
well, obviously, yeah.
So this is the group.
Nice to see you. Thank you. Don't want to interrupt your work, sorry.
President left.
Oh, so nobody knows what's in it? Probably no one knows the combination.
Nobody.
We'd have to drill it up tonight. Well, we might be able to help you with that if you ever get interested. Oh, no, perfect. Drill out the
So this is our Bloomer Funds Department.
Hello, how are you?
So they're working on the Bloomer Funds.
Good. We like that. Keep up the good work. I thought I had to see that. I see lots of people.